Hey, welcome to Task Force Geek. Spoiler alert. My name is Star Cooper, and I'm joined as always by Beth and Walt.
How you doing, everyone?
Who I saw last weekend in live. I saw
did.
them live.
And in person.
We might talk a little bit about that. And I think Beth doesn't know this, but I'm going to have a little bonus segment where we talk about something that she was talking about on Facebook in our own little group.
Yeah, I think I know what that is.
Because it's one of my favorite topics. Let's see. We're going to talk about and spoil. So if you haven't seen it, get off of this immediately and watch it on the rebroadcast. We're going to talk about the What If episode, What If Thor Was an Only Child. I think that this is a little different in tone. Is someone getting replays here?
That's me. Sorry.
Okay. That's all right.
Shame on you.
If it's not one thing, it's another, man.
Bad Walt.
It's already...
The sound was supposed to. The sound was supposed to have been already turned off, and nope, it wasn't. So.
Yeah, I shut everything. Otherwise, that's the issue I have. Hey, let's talk about this episode. Beth, what's your overall impression?
This one was probably the one that made me laugh the most. Yeah, if you haven't watched it and you haven't left this podcast yet, I'm gonna warn you right now. Do not eat or drink anything while watching this episode. Okay?
Yes.
Because honestly, I wound up having to change my shirt after the first couple of laughs because I kept taking a drink of my iced tea because I was watching it at lunch and I was a mess by the time we were done. That's full disclosure, being honest there. This was definitely the lighthearted jaunt that we needed. And you know, like I've told you guys throughout this, you know, I started watching this and I had Zed from Men in Black pop up in my head, you know, saying something about Thor having intergalactic kicker. You know, but I loved it. I thought this was a great episode. Great episode. And basically Thor went from what, 1,500 years old to a teenager. Yes.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, teenage
First
Thor.
time we've really seen Thor featured in these things.
Yes.
I mean, Thor has been kind of sidelined on these What If episodes. And of course, you know, in this case, he's throughout the entire episode.
Yeah, this was, and not only do we get Thor, we get Lady Sif in the Warriors 3 as well.
Yes.
Yeah, which we actually kind of didn't get in the movies. I mean, those guys also kind of got the, you know, the side, you know, they got shoved to the side even in the original movies, and then got killed, you know, kind of off screen.
Yeah,
it's like, by the way, we killed them.
They got killed. They got killed in Ragnarok.
You know,
and we see them get killed in Ragnarok. The only one we don't see is Lady Sif, and you know, so we know she's still alive somewhere.
We've heard some rumors that Lady Sif is going to show up in something new. I don't something like Hawkeye or something. I don't know.
I hope so.
I think she's supposed to be in the next Thor movie.
We've already seen her in Loki.
Yeah, she popped up in Loki, which was a nice little thing. First time we've seen anything on her really since Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is now non-canon. You can forget that. Please forget all mentions of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Alternate universe.
That's alternate universe stuff.
Tahiti, such a magical place.
Did not happen.
and that's just sad.
Yeah,
it is.
It is. Walt, what did you think about this episode?
Like Beth, make sure you're not drinking anything, and if you are drinking something, make sure it's water, so that you don't stain anything, and keep all electronic objects away from you.
Right.
So, but yeah, this one, you know, after 3 episodes of gloom and doom, this was a much needed refresher.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I watched this with Sean, so kind of instead of an audience of one, there was a couple of us. I laughed out loud several times. Definitely a humorous episode. I suspect that a lot of fan holes will complain about this because it's not super serious. You know, everything has to be serious and life-changing and affect the universe and all this sort of stuff. I think it was a nice little break. I think it was a nice, humorous take on these characters. I thought it was really cool to see Loki as a frost giant.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
and also playing for laughs and kind of fun and that sort of thing. Like everyone
Holding an
is
itty bitty phone.
everyone is kind of
Yeah.
lighthearted in this, including Captain Marvel. If they had
Yeah.
Captain Marvel like this in the movie,
Oh my God! I
she
want
would
to keep
be
this one.
10 times better as far as I'm concerned. This version of Captain Marvel is a great improvement as far as I'm concerned. And anyway, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was, and I can't watch these things without thinking about what I would have thought about this back when I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How we're getting all of these different characters and the different takes on the characters of the different universes and the playing around with the plot lines and all the fun. What If is not my favorite series. That would be Loki so far. But I really do enjoy this series intensely. And I think that, you just have to say that we're blessed to get this quality entertainment
Yeah.
that's presented up. You can watch it, as many times as you want. You can watch it at your leisure. You can skip an episode if you want to.
Yeah.
Whatever. If it focuses on someone you don't like, just hang on to the next episode and stuff. I think this is a lot of fun. I think this was another great episode. So congratulations to these guys. I got to mention the cast on this thing. Let me go through this because this is extraordinary. This is not a movie, folks. This is a cartoon. Okay.
TV show, half hour.
So I want you to absorb that in the past, voices for cartoons were done by nobodies. Now there are a few exceptions to that.
Unknown professionals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't mean to disparage them because some of these people, the voice actors, are some of my favorite people in the world. But what I'm saying is that, with the exception of like Adam West doing Batman and the cast of Star Trek doing the Star Trek animated series.
Sally Struthers doing the Teenage Pebbles from the old 70s.
I mean, that's something she did.
Bam Bam.
That's a deep cut. So.
Yeah, for sure. For the most part, people, certainly not big time celebrities show up to do their voices, reprise their voices from films. So with that in mind, here we go. Jeffrey Wright, who in his own right is an amazing actor and who plays the Watcher. Natalie Portman, someone who walked away from the Marvel universe. Mm-hmm. She was like, I'm done with this stuff. I'm getting Academy Awards. I have no time for this silly stuff. And here she is. She's voicing this silly character in this thing. Kat Dennings, who's one of my favorite people on the planet. She obviously is on board for whatever they are going to do with her character and stuff. Jeff Goldblum, not a guy who's small potatoes.
I was glad to see him in the cast list.
Playing DJ Grandmaster. Yep. Clark Gregg, once again, we're getting some more Agent Coulson love. Taika Waititi, who take all the rest of these guys on here. He is easily the busiest guy of them. This guy is directing stuff. He's acting in stuff. He's developing stuff. He's got new seasons of What We Do in the Shadows. I mean, this guy's busy. Holy crap, dude.
Super busy.
I'm not sure he had a line other than just to blow on Nebula's dice, but still.
He said a few little things. Yeah. He said a few little
things. He's the one who knocked over Nick Fury.
Right.
Oh, that's right. Yes, doing a cannonball.
Doing the cannonball
fountain outside of the Bellagio. Yes. Okay.
Jamie Alexander, again as Lady Sif. Alexander Daniels did Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel. Let's see, Clancy Brown. Did you guys know that Clancy Brown?
Yes.
Was in this thing? Did you know that he did Surtur?
He did Surtur.
In the movie, in Ragnarok, and in this, yes.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, is whether that was a reprisal of his role.
Yes.
I did not realize until this moment that guy, that Clancy Brown, who, by the way, if you don't know Clancy Brown, great character actor, really brilliant dude. Certainly should get more recognition for his work over the years. He was the Kurgan in Highlander and many other things.
He was the drill sergeant in what is it? Now I can't. I had the movie right there on the tip of my brain.
The one with Bill Murray.
No,
Starship
Troopers.
Yes.
He was the drill sergeant there.
Long storied history. Great character actor. Big.
Lex Luthor in the Superman animated series.
Yes, he did. He
And
did get into
Justice
voice
League.
work some time ago.
So
But amazing. That kind of completed that thing for me. Okay, I'm only halfway through the list. Chris Hemsworth, also a busy dude. Maybe you've heard of him.
nah, don't know that name.
Tom Hiddleston, playing
Don't know
a
that guy either.
fun role.
That guy.
Samuel L. Jackson,
Who?
MFing Samuel L. Jackson. Kobe Smulders, Frank Grillo. Come on, man.
Frank
I mean,
Grillo.
they could have easily just grabbed someone from out in the hallway and said, "You're going to, play Brock Rumlow."
Yeah.
And no one probably would have paid much attention to it. But I mean, they got him back, and this is not the only time that he's done this either. He has been consistently in. They've inserted his character. He's had more action in What If than he had in the actual movies. Karen Gilliam, who's also one of my favorite people, also back as Nebula. Seth Green as Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
We need more Howard the Duck.
Dude, we're getting more. Are you kidding me? We are getting Howard the Duck. What If is almost the Howard the Duck series.
Yeah.
We need more Howard.
How
the
many
Duck.
times has he shown up in this? At least 2 times,
three.
3?
I think 3 times.
Yeah.
3 times.
That's insane. Whoever is doing this thing is like, is there a way we can get Howard the Duck in this episode? I mean,
That was a perfect addition to this episode.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
He said something about, that's bold talk from a brunette.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got some zingers. Seth Green is awesome. And many other people here. Again, not as big, but great voice actors who did these things. I was really very impressed with the voice cast for this episode. Really wanted to mention some of that. Very interesting about Surtur, I think, being done by Clancy Brown.
He's one of those actors where when you hear his voice, you know who he is, but you may not necessarily remember his name or the other things that he's been in. And I know he's done a ton of voice acting work where I'll be watching something, a cartoon or something like that, and I'll be like, I know this voice, and I'll go look it up, and it'll be like, oh my God, it's Clancy Brown. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Mark Shepard was, hey, it's
Hey,
that
Max,
guy for years until he became Crowley on Supernatural.
Hello, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
I'm slowing up because I'm about to serve some website stuff here.
Excuse
So
me for a minute here.
if I crash, it's all on you there, Beth.
Yeah, I got you. Right now I'm trying to keep my cat off my work computer. It's warm. I want to lay on it.
How's Peanut Butter doing today?
She's clingy today. I'm about to pack her up and ship her to you.
I see her. There she is.
She's been super clingy today. So.
Oh, wait a minute. We got a comment from Brian James. Thank you for commenting.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We like
Brian.
the comments.
Thank you.
Walt is great. Beth is great. However, Mr. Hooper is taking things to the next level once again.
He always does. It's hard to be his stand-in.
And it's, back in, got as a little earworm, we keep hearing that, moving on up song in our heads. So
Right.
Yeah.
Maxine says, "Hey kids." It's all her family here.
We're one big happy family. Come on, man.
All right, I'm going to add this to the stream. We're just going to go through it one at a time here. You guys can make some comments on this as you wish. The first thing here is Odin drifts into Odin sleep, which is something that also happens in Thor. There's the 2 versions of that in the episode of What If and in the movie. Look at how young Hiddleston looks here.
Oh yeah, he was only 29 when he first started.
I mean, he's. What is he now?
So I think you add 12, maybe 13 years to that.
All right. So now he's
Somebody
in his 40s.
asked-
Yeah.
Somebody asked Hiddles if
Still
he
not
would...
too old to be James Bond. Go ahead,
Nope.
Beth. I'm sorry.
No, God, I want to see him as Bond. Are you kidding me? Somebody asked him if he would still be willing to play Loki at 50, And he was like, I played Loki at 30, I've played Loki at 40, and yes, I will continue to play Loki well into my 50s if I'm allowed. And I'm like, yes.
I mean, Loki is one of those characters that, I mean, they had, what's his name? Ben Grant? Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Play, you know, an older Loki. I mean, Loki's a character that, you know, will consistently be relevant. He doesn't have to be, you know, jumping through the air and punching people.
Yeah.
You know, Loki is still, and, you know, we've had kind of multiple redemptions of the Loki character.
Hemsworth said the same thing about playing Thor.
Yeah, which I love.
I hope that's true. I hope we have old Thor.
Oh, dude, that would be so awesome to have.
Well, we've managed to get, you know, fat junk food beer drinking Thor, so
good one there, Brian. Good one there.
Brian says one big hoopy family.
Yes, we are. Yes.
Hoopy to be here.
There you go. It says when Thor, Sif, and the Warriors 3 are walking through Odin's treasure room, you can spot Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet. There it is, right there. Yep. Of course, that was tipped over by
Hela.
What's her name?
Hela. Fake.
And said that's fake.
Yeah.
Fake. We see Scourge in this again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who I feel might still be around, maybe.
That's we never really saw him die in Ragnarok. I mean, you know, he was
maybe that's just me, you know, wishful thinking, because I love what's his name so much.
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban. Yeah.
Carl Urban.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. He mentions that it'd never run out, which is a nod to the never-ending beer in Thor.
Yeah.
That's something they mentioned.
In Ragnarok. I loved that scene in Ragnarok. Oh my god.
Yeah, this was just totally hilarious episode.
Oh, that's funny. They're saying that this pineapple shirt here, which was also seen in Corey, is it's the same shirt over and over again. Taika Waititi was wearing it.
It's a running gag.
And then Korg is also wearing it. That's an interesting. That's an interesting nod.
Great.
Yeah,
pretty good. When Topaz and the Grandmaster are enjoying some cake, you can see that Topaz is wielding the melting stick from Thor Ragnarok. Right.
The other thing is there's the other character right there on the other side of the Grandmaster.
Yeah, who was this?
I can't remember her name.
I couldn't figure out where she was from.
But she was from the first episode with What If T'Challa was the
Star-Lord.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
She was amongst that group. So that's our second time seeing her in an episode, and I can't remember her name.
So wait a minute. Are you telling me that they kind of inserted this person into just What If? Or is she based on someone from the movies?
I don't remember seeing her in the movies, but she was in the first episode of What If.
Wow.
You mean the second episode?
That's interesting.
Or second episode. Excuse me, second episode.
Does anyone know who this is? And is there anyone out there? And is it also possible that she has a version in the comics that we can look at? Or is this someone that's original to? Because I don't know. She's cool. I like her.
I like the character too.
Let's find out more. It happens kind of fast, but you can see Valkyrie hanging out with Drax and Sif during the party in Vegas. There you go, right there. Yeah, there were a lot of kind of mix and mashups here, you know, like people that you. It's funny that the Guardians of the Galaxy got involved in this party early.
Yeah,
like they. It's like, wait a minute, we heard there's a party on Earth.
Right.
Party.
Well, it's this right here, correct?
Oh my God, this was. I pronounce you Darcy and Duck.
They say when Elvis, who's made to look like Kurt Russell, right? This is the Kurt Russell version of Elvis, folks.
Yeah.
And is marrying Darcy and Howard the Duck. The book he's reading out of says "Love Me Tender," which of course is the title of an Elvis song.
And you can't have a wedding in Vegas without Elvis being
without
excuse me, an Elvis impersonator.
Absolutely. When Jane's talking to Maria Hill, you can hear Thor talking about a rabbit in the sink, and earlier Jane spotted Rocket sleeping there. That is just a great nod to Thor calling Rocket a rabbit in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame.
He's a zoologist. That's
we didn't hear from him.
Right.
We didn't hear from him, but there he is.
Yeah.
That was so brief. When Coulson talks about Thor's party spreading, you can spot coordinates for the current location, which is Henderson, Nevada. It's right outside of Las Vegas. So how crazy is that? That someone
that's
on the design team looked that up and figured out what the coordinates would be.
Yeah.
What's great about that for me is every time I've gone out to Vegas, like driving, that's the first stop.
You pass through there?
That's the first stop we hit before we stop there. Before we go into Vegas, we always stop there. So
that's pretty cool. I'm sure that Home Economics appreciates all this advertisement we're giving them there. I don't know what the heck Home Economics even is, but there it is. It's an ABC family. It's coming this fall. I don't know. I have no idea. You can see Thor taking a selfie with two members of the Sovereign from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And
then there's our other character from the Ravagers.
Yep, there she is right there again.
So before you go any further, the Sovereign and the Guardians, little side note, one of the Guardians in that scene in that movie is actually played by Farscape alum Ben Browder.
Yes. And that's because James Gunn was such a big fan of Farscape.
Yep. Right.
That he inserted him in there, which was great. And look, Ben Browder is definitely someone that, like, long ago, and I never understand this. There are certain characters, certain actors who are in television, and I think, man, all they need to do is take this guy and insert him in a franchise and let him run with it. Because Ben Browder had this great delivery for stuff. Good-looking guy. I mean, he could have definitely been a leading man on a series of something. Whatever.
He was he was a great addition to the Stargate series.
Yeah, he had big shoes to fill when RDA left, and I think he did a great job with the 2 seasons that he had.
Certainly. But kind of filling in. I really wanted to see him in movies. I wanted him to move to movies, and I bitch about some of the same dumb actors. I mean, terrible. I mean, like vanilla actors who continue to get the phone call to be in these movies time and time again. It's like, why? If Sean is watching, who is the guy that I always complain about? He is the perfect example of this. He has 2 first names. But he just keeps getting roles, and he's a nothing. You could grab someone off of the street and he would act better and be more interesting. And for some reason, they keep getting this guy. I can't remember his name because he's so unmemorable. But he keeps getting like these. He was in the Planet of the Apes movie, and he was in the Terminator movie. I can't remember his name. Anyway, it will come to me here in a minute.
I think
he's
I know
terrible,
who you're talking about.
And I can't understand why he keeps getting leading acting roles. They could. Thank you, Sean.
Yes.
Jason Clarke.
Yes.
Who the hell in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Attention Hollywood. Who the F keeps hiring Jason Clarke? You have Ben Browder.
Why didn't you find this dude?
Why do you keep hiring Jason? Please let that guy go work at Walmart and greet people at the door and hire a real effing actor. My God.
I agree. Now that I saw a picture of him, I agree.
He's a nothing. No offense. Maybe the nicest. Maybe that's why he keeps getting stuff. Maybe he's the nicest guy on the planet. Maybe he's wonderful to work with. God bless him. I don't know. He may be a wonderful human being. He's a terrible actor.
Boy, I opened up the can of worms and just threw it at everybody.
Good
there.
Lord.
Wow. Easy. It's okay.
Scott, is it okay if Derek borrows your Spicy King crown today?
Boy, I think he needs the Spicy King crown today. Wow.
Oh, I guess I got ahead of myself. Opinion request. Who has the best post That 70s Show career outside of Ashton Kutcher?
Topher Grace.
Yeah, he says Topher Grace.
I don't know because I never watched.
I mean, even though what's her name got the spot in Orange Is the New Black, Topher Grace.
What about the girl? I can't remember her name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, the one who Ashton Kutcher married.
Yes,
her too. I would put Topher Grace and her. I wouldn't. You know what? I would say anybody could choose who's number one on that one, because I have to say those two have probably the biggest careers since then.
Hey, oh gosh, I can't remember anyone's name from that show. Several people from that show did okay.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that show.
I never watched it, so.
Gia Langaro, thank you for chiming in. Says this episode was dumb. It's too dumb.
Yeah,
I said that people would say that.
Yeah, he did. And
so
you know what? You know what?
Thank you for chiming in, folks. Go watch The Great Council.
Yeah, I needed this episode, GA.
It was a bit of a
yeah.
It was a bit of a palate cleanser. It's called a palate cleanser.
Yeah, it was a tongue in cheek. It was really over the top, but we'll probably get into a little bit.
You know what I suspect? I suspect that the next episode will be a big downer.
I suspect the next episode will be part one of a two-parter.
Yeah, we'll be back to doom and gloom next
week.
Thank
you, GA, with the answer on this.
Mila Kunis.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
And her career is pretty good, folks. Not too bad. She's not doing anything right this moment besides
and
chip commercials.
And everything I hear about her is like she's one of the coolest people out there to meet.
All she needs is a good project, and she will be number one on the earth again. She has a lot of upside, folks.
Yeah.
Definitely the case. Michelle says she thought, "Hello, Michelle, how you doing?" Saw her live this weekend as well. I thought this was a good episode with a touch of Looney Tunes. It did feel a little Looney Tunes.
It was a breath of fresh air, change of pace. And yes, I will agree, it was too dumb. But sometimes too dumb is perfect.
She is on Family Guy. That's a regular recurring role.
I did not know that. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. In fact, she's the second voice for it.
I'm about to say she came in afterward for some reason.
Yeah. When Family Guy was canceled.
Oh, okay.
Family Guy was canceled, and Adult Swim Cartoon Network decided to take over Family Guy and ordered episodes.
Right.
And Fox said, hang on a minute, we still own it. So that's the reason why whenever you see a new episode on Sunday, it's repeated on Monday night on Cartoon Network.
Okay.
They co-own the show.
This woman was in the latest film by Christopher Nolan, Tenet. She was the kind of model wife to the dude.
Yeah, that's right.
Did anyone see Tenet?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love Tenet. It's a weird movie. I love weird movies. It has time travel in it. It does all the things I want it to do.
Tahiti, such a magical place.
This was funny.
I thought that was great.
Right. Tahiti. Look at the backgrounds on this thing.
The backgrounds are awesome.
I never tire of either looking at the backgrounds or the way that they color these characters. They have this. They have this thing where they have blue coming in from one direction, hitting them on like a side lighting on blue, and then side lighting with like a pink or something on the other side. I love it.
Complementary colors, so they'll like do an orange.
It's just bright, kind of bright colors.
This whole episode was
it's the
really
sort of thing that I try to do in my artwork.
Yeah, this whole episode was really kind of bright like that.
Yeah,
which I thought was kind of neat too.
For sure, I liked how he kind of pinned, but he didn't do it for long. He really didn't like tease her or anything. He just put that thing on her for a minute and said his piece, and then pulled it right off of her. But that was obviously the lightning didn't do crap to her
because honestly, she was kicking his ass.
That's what he told her. She was a party pooper and she needed a timeout.
Right.
Right. She
Oh,
was
that's pretty
kicking.
good.
She was
Okay,
kicking
Thor.
his ass.
And of course, that's where he also did that with Loki.
Party pooper.
Who are you? Oh, is that the name of the girl from Tenet? Elizabeth
Right.
Debicki.
The Bicky.
Very good, Sean. Thank you. I like her. I'll just put that out there. As Thor's party continues to get out of control, you can see Surtur, who had a thing with with the Statue of Liberty.
So this is one of the things I told you before we started the show. This is one of the things that had me asking questions. So what's the relationship between Surtur and Thor now? and
Right.
what's to become of Ragnarok since, they party all the time?
Exactly.
Yes, because apparently he's one of the party crowd.
Yep. Certainly. Man, the what if version of that of Surtur is awesome. Maybe
Yeah, it
maybe
is.
better than the movie version.
Right.
He looks really good. He mentions the crown, which Thor was seen fetching at
Yeah.
the beginning of Thor
Yeah.
Ragnarok. Frost Giants, folks, and once again we get that doodad that the thing that does the frost thing. This is the second time that's appeared.
The Casket
What
of
If.
Ancient Winters.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I actually just read
Another
it right off the
casket of ancient winters. Another one.
Well, if Loki's around, it's going to be there. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah,
It's good stuff. Anyway, he defaces.
I appreciated Mount the iced over Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
You can see Mantis there, and
Yep.
you see it. You see her in another case too. Did you notice that Korg had a pacifier,
Yes.
Yes.
Which means he's probably
like all club kids?
that means he's probably tweaking on.
He's
what is it?
on Molly.
Yes.
Yep.
He's tweaking.
First time we've mentioned Molly on Task Force Geek.
Yeah.
Darn it.
They say that you can see a Skrull here, Asgardian
There are
guards,
quite a
and
few
one of the
Skrulls.
love bots.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
one of
How
the
about
things
that right
one
there?
of the things they missed out is at the very beginning he's got scrolls and he's asking them to imitate himself.
To imitate himself. I
Right.
feel like they really understand me.
Right.
As the crowd watches Thor slide down that pointy thing, you can spot Meek from Thor Ragnarok, as well as another shot of Valkyrie. Valkyrie's in there somewhere. There she is.
Yeah.
Where there's Cord, there's Meek.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Maria Hill, who also kind of plays the head party pooper in this,
Colby Smulders, by the way.
voiced by Colby Smulders, came back for this.
By the way, that's Frank Grillo's character in the background, Rumla.
Yes.
Right. Oh,
yes.
also,
and talks about the cat, which
Yes.
they're mentioning the
and
Part of
also,
that goose.
what are the name of those things?
uh,
Can't remember the name of
I
those
can't
things.
remember.
Someone out there tell us what those
His
are.
name
They're
is
not.
Goose.
They're not actual cats.
yeah, this
They're
is also
they're alien creatures
this is also the most we got of Colby Smulders in anything.
Yeah, it is.
in
It is.
anything. I mean,
Yeah.
could we have some more Colby Smulders, please?
Because in the comics, Maria Hill is a badass.
Back before Captain Marvel and some of the more recent stuff, people complained there weren't enough Marvel women in the MCU. I remember hearing a story about someone saying that Maria Hill was their favorite Marvel character. It was a little girl
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
said that because the only other character there was Black Widow, and little girls might not
Yeah.
relate to Black Widow so well, but they could relate to Maria Hill.
Maria Hill in the comics is probably one of my
She's-
favorite characters in the
Yeah.
comics.
She's
prominent in the comics for sure.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Flurkin. Thank you.
Thank you. Who did that?
Thank you, Sean.
Man, Sean has got all the zingers today. Thank you once again, Flurkins. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. While fighting Captain Marvel on the mountain, Thor tells her to smile, which is a nod to the scene in Captain Marvel. The biker tells Carol the same thing.
Yeah.
And has some bad results from that.
Yes.
He says, "Loosen up, have fun, smile a little," and then there's the scene in the movie. When Thor is telling everyone you need to break up the party and leave the Earth, you can see Yondu standing next to Drax.
Yep.
So there's Yondu. That's a great looking Yondu.
Yeah.
Great there. Who's this dude?
I don't know who that dude is.
I don't know.
And there is Mantis.
There's Mantis.
And
Can't miss her
Mantis.
antennae.
she was kind of throughout this thing, not very prominent, but there. You'll notice in this reality that Nebula looks like she does in the MCU movies, unlike the version that I'm going to draw sometime. That's going to happen.
Same here. Same here. Same here.
Yeah. While cleaning up the Earth before Frigga arrives, Thor straightens out the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It's like, I better fix this.
Completely. He completely fixed the Stonehenge.
Right. All of the pieces of Stonehenge were, some of the pieces have fallen.
Thor is actually a lovable jerk in this episode.
Oh, they mentioned when Superman did
Superman,
that too. That's funny. I forgot that happened.
Please don't fix our Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's supposed to lean.
Oh yes, at the end of this thing, you get the Vision as Ultron.
Or actually, is it Ultron? Actually, I would say it is Ultron.
With Vision's face.
Right.
Yeah, who accomplished making his Vision body.
I talked to Sean about this. One of the, I was wondering who came first, whether it was Ultron or Vision. It was, he said Ultron was first and then Vision.
Technically, Ultron was first, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he downloaded Jarvis into...
or he didn't download Jarvis. He was going to download himself into the Vision body.
Right.
And they beat him to the punch. One thing about this that made me think, because
she said she thought it was Ultron too, but it had Vision's face, and you can also see the Infinity Stone. Yeah,
he's got all 6 of them.
His armor is the Infinity Stones.
I cannot repeat on here what I said yesterday when I saw this scene, but I'm sure you guys can figure it out.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Oh snap! But you didn't say snap.
I didn't say snap. Snap was not the word I used.
About that Ultron with all the Infinity Stones. The first thing I thought of when I saw that was Capcom versus Marvel, because Ultron is one of the big bads, not Thanos, but Ultron.
Ultron's the big bad.
Ultron is the big bad from the Marvel side, and Sigma is the big bad from the Capcom side. And you fight both of those individually. And if I recall, throughout the whole game, Infinity Stones are a big part of the game.
Oh.
And in the end, you fight a combination of Ultron and Sigma called Ultron or Omega Sigma, Ultron Omega Sigma, and they both have, or the combination of them have all 6 Infinity Stones, and you have to fight the combined version of them. Yeah. So that made me think of that. And I was like, hey, are we going to get a Capcom crossover too? Which would be kind of funny if we did get that. So anyway.
Let me ask you a question, something that Sean brought up last night. And Sean, you can chime in on this if you'd like. One of his thoughts is that that maybe they might have missed the mark a little bit on this with the premise, in that if Loki wasn't around, that Thor would become Party Thor. He felt like if Loki wasn't around to cause problems and to challenge him and stuff, Thor would become like a conqueror Thor. Like he would become more like Odin, or maybe more like Hela, where he isn't tempered by he would want to rule everything, much like if Loki wasn't there. What do you two think about that?
Well, seeing as at the very beginning of this, the Watcher explains that without Loki, he wasn't challenged and he wasn't focused. So I mean, you could go either way. I mean, that sounds like another what if story, if you ask me, which could be explored in the future.
Right.
But in this one, he says, he wasn't challenged to stay focused on it because he was quite dumb. I mean, remember, there's the scene where he says, "I'm Thor," and he tries to spell his name, and he says T.
Right.
He says T-R-O OH, not specifically in that order.
Mhm.
And so, you could say that that's another story for another time.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with
I mean-
Walt. You can go either direction with it, but
Yeah.
I think knowing a little bit of Norse history and Norse legends without Loki being there, I think he probably would have gone more towards Odin. He would have been more serious.
Yeah.
He's a fairly serious character, even with Loki hanging around. As we've seen in, the first movie. We don't start to see a fun side of Thor until we get to Ragnarok, and even then he's still fairly focused.
Yeah.
If you look at Thor's story, the tragedy with Thor is deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he is played often to humor and that sort of thing because it plays exceptionally well. Ragnarok, is a good example of that.
But-
I mean, Ragnarok was infinitely better than Thor 2,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But just think he's lost his sister, he's lost his mother, he's lost his father, he lost his whole kingdom.
His
Yeah.
world. He's lost his world. And
I mean, that
Yeah.
guy has had a hell of a lot of tragedy that he's had to deal with. So the fact that, but it has sharpened him.
Right.
yeah.
It has made him, it has on one hand made him, they, like I said, they played to the humor and stuff, but on the other hand, it's also made him very tough. I
Right.
mean, he is,
Yeah.
He has taken.
Look at
on
him in
things
Infinity War. That humor was not. I mean, there was some of it there in Infinity War,
Yeah.
but for the most part, there was no humor there whatsoever
No,
for
there
that
wasn't.
character.
No,
There
and
wasn't.
no, certainly.
Yeah.
And-
But hey, we can definitely say that Thor is a Disney princess. He hangs out with a tree and he talks to animals. So
Right.
there
That's
you
good.
go.
That's a good
Right.
point.
Right.
I really think that without Loki, knowing the deeper Norse legends that this character is actually built upon, I think he would have gone the other direction.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
But then again, like I said, this is what if.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what if. This is what if,
Right.
So I think it was a great thing to think the opposite of what would be opposite.
Yeah,
I think that Thor is yet another character, much like Captain America, that I didn't really care for. Didn't really like that character. Like when I was growing up, I mean that you had the big people of Marvel, and I usually didn't. I didn't read Captain America comics. I didn't read Thor comics. I'm going back now and reading Thor stuff, particularly stuff that's happened over the last 20 years or something. I'm reading a lot of like Loki things because I've become fascinated with Loki. There's a lot of stuff there, but I mean, it was the MCU that made these characters interesting to me, for sure. They not that they changed who they were, but they really refined who they are, and of course they've readopted that back in the comics again, which I think is very interesting. Because if you read stuff from like 2005, which was 3 years before Iron Man 1,
Yeah.
they're those characters are not the same
Right.
at that time as they are now. I mean, Iron Man, Tony Stark Iron Man will never be the same after Robert Downey Jr.
no, it won't.
No.
It won't.
We will get that Tony Stark, the snarky but and yet edgy Tony Stark from now on.
Yeah.
The acting of RDJ changed that character, and I think that what we're getting now with Thor, with a little bit of the humor and a little bit of the kind of more grandiose type stuff, and
Because
the way that he's portrayed in the MCU is definitely filtering back into the comics, which I think is
because
interesting.
you think
Yeah.
about Thor having spent so much time on Midgard, why would he not take on some of the little quirks and things that Midgardians do? Since he he loves to be on Midgard, and he wants to protect Midgard for so much, so badly. Who's to say he wouldn't start taking on some of the various slangs across the country, the slang terms and whatever, and lightening up.
Oh, we see him in the one movie where he's sitting there playing a video game with Korg.
Right.
His experiences with the Avengers has lightened him up considerably.
Yes,
I mean, if you want to follow his arc, and it will go further with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And like I said, that's a much more interesting take on that character than someone who's a lot of smoting and thous and doths and whatever.
Right.
Look at how he was in the first Avenger movie. When he's chasing after Loki, and he gets into the whole fight with Cap and Iron Man in the middle of the forest. He's all serious. He's all,
right. Right.
Here's Tony teasing him, or thou weareth mother's drapes, because of the cape and everything. And
right.
Then, further on, once you get him on the helicarrier and he's talking, they're talking about Loki and somebody pops off with something and he goes, he's my brother. And then they pop off with something else. And then he's like, he's adopted.
Yeah, he's adopted.
I think that is the very first spot right there that we see a touch of humor from Thor.
Right.
Well, and it was Taika Waititi who obviously saw the real potential there.
And think about it too, and it's also pointed out in the first Thor movie that he's a swashbuckler.
Yes. Yes.
And
that's the way to play that.
And that's kind of like, what he's been in the comics, but just not as mirthy as you would say. There wasn't very much mirth about it.
Right.
And it's just a fine line between bringing out that seriousness and the the more playful side.
Yep. All right. Well, any other final thoughts about this episode, folks? How many more episodes we got? 3?
2 more.
2?
2 more.
2?
Yeah. Because it's only 9 episodes.
Does anyone know what's happening next week?
Not
no
yet.
word.
Not
we don't
yet.
know yet.
They've been dropping it on
like a Monday.
On Fridays or Mondays, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like on Monday. Sunday or Monday is when they drop the clue. So
yeah.
Does anyone want to talk? Did anyone? I mean, we spoke quite a bit about this on Tuesday night. Does anyone else? Did you forget anything to mention about the Fan Expo over the weekend?
Actually, I did. Now I've forgotten what it was that I wanted.
All
to
right, that's
mention.
okay. That's all right.
Don't forget.
Just that it was a great time. Met a lot of new artists. Met a lot of old artists that I hadn't seen in about 3 years. It was great getting back in touch with those guys.
Yeah.
Spent way too much money.
No, we both did, honey, but that's okay.
No,
yeah,
it's not okay.
Eating at that hotel and eating at that convention or doing anything at that
parking
convention
at that convention
is expensive. I mean, it's just like you're not gonna get out for $5 on anything.
Yeah.
Everything, if you're going to eat, it's going to be between $15 and $30.
Yeah.
No matter where it is that you're eating. They had a deal. They had one deal that was like you bought a cup for $30.
The Pecos Pete teas.
Yes.
Oh, God, yeah.
And like I love tea. I drink tea all the time, and I thought, well, I might do $30 because it's like you get to refill it.
It's
a tin. You get to keep it, and you can refill it, as many times as you want. But here's the thing: they were going to. It was only for one day, so the next day you'd come back and you had to pay them another $8 or something. So you would end up spending $50 to just drink some damn tea for 3 days. It's like I can't do it. It's just absurd. I mean, I know that there are people who think, well, this is a great deal, I'm going to go ahead and do this, but I couldn't pull the trigger on. But that's a good example of, the amount of money that you can spend just to get something to drink. I mean, if you were going to buy a drink, like a one-off drink, it's $5 or $6. It's like movie theater,
theater
prices.
Yeah.
So everything is, a thing of Coke is going to be $5 or $6.
A small bag of popcorn was $7. So
Is that
Chick-fil-A
how much you
sandwich.
actually wound up paying for that? Was $7?
yeah,
A
Wow.
Chick-fil-A sandwich was $8. Just
yeah.
the regular Chick-fil-A sandwich, $8, and
I'm
one
s-
of their
I-
cookies was $3.
I'm sorry, but the Lord's chicken ain't worth that much.
No. It's
Well,
not.
it's a lot. If you're starving to death, it sure as crap is. And given the fact that that was one of the cheapest things to eat
Right.
there, they were doing okay. But that just gives you an example. And eating in the hotel was expensive. Everything was expensive. So that was one aspect of it. Also, one thing that I didn't mention was the masks. Everyone there was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Even people in costumes were wearing masks. Everyone was fully masked. I want to compare I would say that mask compliance was about 99%, if not more than that.
It was
there
about
were
99%.
times.
Yeah.
There were times when people would take off their mask to drink something or whatever, and in that case, it looked like to me that they were social distancing. I didn't see anyone that was just walking out around without a mask. So for people who said that it was a super spreader event, I think that's
They weren't there. If they were saying that, they weren't there.
exactly.
Yeah, because if you
I
showed
think
up,
if you were there, I
Yeah.
think you would see that the mask compliance was exceptionally high. I mean,
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
100%.
because if you showed up
And-
at the door without one, they handed
They,
you.
they
one.
handed
They
you
did.
one.
They
Yeah.
would not let you walk in first place, and they had them there. They would hand it to you.
Yeah,
And there were people that were walking around. At least at the beginning of the thing, I know that there were some people that were looking at the exhibitors, and they said, because we got in beforehand, we got in without having to go through any security checks besides some of our baggage and stuff. If you weren't wearing stuff, they politely asked you to wear masks. So, and for what it's worth, I mean, even masks are not going to make it 100%. But if you're wearing a mask and I'm wearing a mask, it's very low chance of spreading the stuff. So it's not going to be. It wasn't any worse than going to Walmart and getting your
Yeah.
groceries or whatever.
Yeah.
In
I will
addition
say
to
that didn't see anybody going crazy over it either.
No, everyone
No.
was on
Yeah.
board that thing. And listen, on Saturday there was no social distancing. If that's important to you, there wasn't any.
There was no.
It was
no.
it was packed on Saturday. I would like to know the numbers. Oh, I have it. Anyway, let me complete this thought. I want to compare the mask compliance and the safety precautions of Fan Expo with the mask compliance and safety precautions at the Emmys over the weekend. At the Emmys, they were in an enclosed space and there was no one wearing a mask. All of those celebrities who bitch at us about mask compliance and all the get your vaccine and social distancing and what have you, all of those MFers were at the Emmys in an enclosed environment with no masks. So shut the F up. Go back
Move
to
on.
your Beverly Hills mansions and all of your stuff. Once again, you're bitching. You can shove that up your candy a-hole.
Turn it sideways, shine it up, turn it sideways, and stick it straight up your candy.
Yep.
You know what? To quote The Rock.
That's downtown Oklahoma City. We call that hypocrisy.
Yep.
Okay, here's the final thing that I do have one other thing I want to say about that. I said that I thought it was about the size of San Diego, and I believe it was Sean that looked that up, or was it Beth?
It was me. I looked
Beth
that one
looked it up. It was 1 million. It's 1 million square feet.
Yep.
San Diego Comic-Con at the San Diego Convention Center, 2.6 million.
Ooh.
Oof.
2.6 million square feet. So San Diego is.
Okay, now my back hurts.
Pardon me
for
while
thinking
I
about walking
correct
that much.
my previous statement.
Yeah.
San Diego Comic-Con is 2.5 times
Good
the
Lord.
size of Fan Expo in Dallas. It's
Oh my
massive. It's massive.
And Fan Expo is big.
Yeah.
Fan Expo was all the walking I needed.
Yeah, my
All
back
the
is still
walking I
hurting
needed.
from that.
Yeah.
Seriously. Seriously, I walked again today, but this is the first time. I usually walk every day, but I took 3 days off after walking around from one end of the earth to the other like Kwai Chang Kang. All right, so here's a bonus section today, prompted by Beth's lengthy diatribe on our
My rant.
on our stuff. So I will turn it over to Beth and let her talk about watching Zack Snyder's Justice League over the weekend.
Okay, so anybody who knows me knows that I'm a Marvel fan. I'm going to start with that. I've always been a Marvel fan, but I do have a soft spot for a couple of DC characters, Batman being one of them, Martian Manhunter being another one. And so I watched the original Batman versus Superman. I watched the theatrical cut of Justice League, and quite honestly, I hated them both. Don't get me wrong. There were good points with both of them, which had more to do with how the characters were portrayed. Ben Affleck as Elder Statesman Batman was pretty much dead on for me. And anybody who knows me knows I like Jason Momoa, so Aquaman was definitely, a big thing. So between Batfleck and Aquaman, I tried to enjoy those movies. And I do like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. So the other night, my husband looks at me and he goes, "Hey, you want to watch a movie?" "Sure, what do you want to watch?" "Well, why don't we watch the Snyder Cut?" Edit my book, spend 4 hours watching a movie I may hate. I went with watching it, and I was actually very glad I did. After watching the 4-hour Snyder Cut, I got the Justice League movie I had wanted in the first place. Not the, as my niece put it, the Franken-movie version that Joss Whedon threw together with the horrible storyline and the disjointed confusion of the theatrical version. Snyder's version made sense. It was a cohesive story from start to finish. It gave us, and please bear with me because I watched this with a very critical writer's eye. It filled in the gaps. It told us what was going on. It explained what the mother boxes was. It explained why Cyborg actually had some sort of connection to the mother boxes. It gave us the Cyborg origin story we've been looking for. It touched on Barry Allen's Flash origin story. And I love the fact that it went into the detail of Barry Allen starting to run and we see his sneakers shred away because he's moving so fast, which makes sense, because he's a quick character. Overall, this movie was what I wanted. And with that being said, I'm pissed. I'm pissed because here is the Justice League movie. All of the fans said, "Hey, we want to see." It was raw. It was gritty. It was human. I mean, we've got Batman cussing in appropriate places because here's Bruce Wayne once again, without any superpowers other than the fact that he's got money to make the best toys, putting himself in a situation where he's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that," and a natural curse word comes out. And we get Batman doing what Batman does best. He goes in and he engages. He gets in there in that very last scene. He gets in there and he's clearing the way for the rest of the Justice League with the people with the powers to come in and do what they need to do. And this is the Batman we're used to seeing. This is the Batman from the comic books. Gritty, dirty. Wonder Woman, she's Amazonian, she's a strong woman, but she's still human enough to get her back up when people are, when Darkseid tells her, "I killed your people," and she calls him straight out a liar, and she gets her back up over it. We see her lose her temper. We see Arthur Curry snarky, contrary, but yet willing to jump in and be Aquaman and do what Aquaman does to help people out. He's always the one that poses the opposite questions, especially to Batman, to make the rest of the Justice League think. We get it all in this movie. We see Cyborg do what he has to do, even though he knows that it could kill him. and we see Barry Allen being, not comedy relief, but the one who puts everything in perspective. That is what we got with Zack Snyder's Justice League. And the problem is we're never going to get it again. Ever.
Yeah.
We've already lost Ben Affleck as Batman because of DC and Warner Brothers crap. We're losing Henry Cavill as Superman. I mean, let's face it, he's moved on. He's doing Witcher.
Maybe.
And I finally get a live action Martian Manhunter for less than 5 minutes. And I loved every minute of that Martian Manhunter. And I'm mad because we're not going to get this again. We're not going to get this level of DC movie again. And that was pretty much what my rant was. And it, I see what the MCU has done. And we talk about the MCU a lot. We watch and we see how they've built out the universe, and it just always seems like no matter what, DC and Warner Brothers keep tripping over their own feet, and they can't get it right. Zack Snyder comes in, he fixes the Justice League, he gets it right. DC Warner Brothers looks at Ben Affleck's script for a Batman movie that would have continued it, that probably would have been phenomenal. Oh no, we're going a different direction, throw it out, basically blow Ben Affleck, off. And now what are we getting? We're getting yet another Batman origin movie with Robert Pattinson playing Batman. I don't want another origin movie, guys. I want Zack Snyder's Batman with Ben Affleck playing our elder statesman Justice League Batman. We deserve this Batman. We deserve this Justice League.
Walt, what do you think?
Still dislike the movie.
All right.
I mean, everything she said about it being a better movie, was it a better movie? Yes. We got a fleshed out cyborg and everything. I feel we got a total misjustice on Martian Manhunter. I thought every moment of him in this movie was not a good, like we got Martian Manhunter, but he was totally useless.
We needed more. Like, why was he not there with them at the last battle?
I'm still questioning why he showed up as Martha Kent. That made no sense to me.
It didn't make any sense, but of course, when he faded into Martian Manhunter, of course, that
didn't make sense to me.
Screamed because I wasn't expecting it, and I was like, "Oh, yes, Martian Manhunter."
That's the thing. Is like it's like, and then on top of that, not only did he morphed not just into Martian Manhunter, he went from Martha Kent to the General, then to
John Johns.
Yeah. And that made no sense. That was stupid. Yeah. And then he shows up at the end.
Pants.
And then he showed up at the end as, "Oh, hey, by the way, sorry I didn't help you out, but I'll be there for you the next time." So I sat through 4 hours of this movie. Like you said, it was better fleshed out, but
why did you say that name?
Yeah, I mean, I totally didn't. Zack Snyder's whole universe, I didn't like any of it. I'm sorry. I mean, none of it did anything for me.
Nothing to apologize for, because that was why I started that rant on Task Force Geek. I know some of you loved it. I know some of you hated it. I respect everybody's opinion. I love you all for it. This is just my opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, I sat there. I watched the theatrical cut, and going back to Man of Steel into Batman v Superman, and then into the theatrical cut. Man of Steel, to me, the only thing out of that movie that I found was that made me feel good was to see that Clark Kent was a Kansas City Royals fan. Other than that, I had a hard time staying awake through that movie.
I have issues with how these guys have written Superman in the first place.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
knowing, I've seen Henry Cavill in so many different things, and he is an actor of great,
I thought that was a
of
total
it
waste of
was,
talent. Total waste of
he,
talent.
yeah, yeah.
Total waste of talent for him as Superman because it wasn't well written. And then Batman v Superman, I don't have to repeat what Sean said there, but
Yeah.
I literally fell asleep the first half of Batman v Superman.
What
Literally
really,
fell asleep.
what bothered me from the beginning with Man of Steel through Beaver versus Us is, well, first off, I'm not a huge Superman fan anyway. Sorry,
I mean,
Batman girl. But I really had a lot of hope for those movies with Henry Cavill stepping into that role. We grew up with Christopher Reeves as Superman, okay, and still to this day that was an extremely high bar that I don't think anyone's ever going to be able to truly fill. All right, because this is the Superman that we remember as from kids. Henry Cavill had the opportunity to do that, but the writers and the directors did not let him branch out as the actor that he is to bring that character to life the way he should have.
that had to do with the writing and the direction.
Yeah.
And and this is my technical movie faux pas here, and from Batman v Superman, and that's when the Wayne building is collapsing, and Ben Affleck's running towards the building, because all this was supposed to have been an analogy of 9/11. And he's running towards the building, and all the debris is flying up in the air, and he goes into the debris, and when it all clears, he has no dust on his body whatsoever. And that's the first moment in that movie where I burst out into laughter, and people were looking at me like, what is he laughing at? Because I went and saw the movie by myself. I didn't see Justice League in the theater, but as soon as it was streaming, I watched it, and that was the most hilarious movie I ever laughed at, and not in a good way.
No, I get it, because the theatrical version, I was the same way. It was horrible.
It just didn't make any sense. And then I sat and watched the Snyder Cut, and I didn't laugh. All the things that were fixed, I didn't laugh at it, but I wasn't interested either. I was not interested in any of this stuff in the Zack Snyder Cut. I mean, nothing made me interested into wanting to see more. To me, it seemed like a lot of it was just put in there just to be put in there. Like Wonder Woman's tossing terrorists around and they're hitting the wall and there's a blood splatter on the wall. I'm like, really? I mean, you just did that just to be extra ultra violent, and that didn't set well with me. I mean, it was I can understand that that's probably what would happen should someone of her power do that, but also knowing her, the type, knowing who Wonder Woman is, it's not something she would do.
She might throw them. They might hit the wall, but we don't, as spectators, we don't need to see the blood splatter, because that's not part of Wonder Woman's MO. If Batman throwing him against the wall, yeah, okay.
That's not something she would do. I mean, Batman would break somebody's arm. I get that. Batman would break somebody's arm, but he wouldn't do enough to kill him. And Superman would hold back a lot. Wonder Woman would hold back a lot against the human. So, I mean, it was all fleshed out and everything, but it didn't do anything for me. There were still some things that just didn't do that made me question, why did you put this here? This doesn't make sense. Why even show Martian Manhunter if he's not even going to do anything? So, oh, by the way, I was sitting back in the back watching, and next time you need my help, I'm there for you. No. Sorry. Didn't like it.
I've talked about this many times, and I talked about it from the very beginning of from back when we got Batman versus Superman. I think that you need to look at the beginning of this and what happened and the audience reaction. Right after Man of Steel, which I loved, by the way. I thought Man of Steel was one of the best, and I understand why people have problems with Man of Steel. But you also have to understand that Zack Snyder was deconstructing these heroes. And I know a lot of people don't like deconstructed heroes. But bear me out for just a moment. Let me make my point. Man of Steel was about an early version of Superman. And we finally got the ass-whooping fight that I desperately wanted for 4 decades after watching, the Christopher Reeve Superman play patty cake with everyone. We finally got someone who could go toe-to-toe with Superman, and we got, the mass destruction and the punching through buildings and the flying around the earth and punching each other, through stuff, and the speed and the epic fist-to-fist fight that I wanted desperately. We got a much more serious take on Superman. We got a Superman that I know that people had problems with, but that had the weight of the world on him, which is something that's almost never portrayed in the media. In the comics, they have that. Yeah. They definitely have moments where Superman is sitting around with Lois and going, wow, I gotta save a lot of lives today. And if I take a break and try to have fun or something, how many lives do I not save? That's the sort of Superman that we got with Zack Snyder. Following up with that, DC or Warner Brothers asked him to do something that was nearly impossible. They said, for the next movie, we want you to introduce Batman. We want a new Batman, and we want you to explain who this guy is and introduce him into this thing. We also want you to create a scenario where Batman and Superman have to fight. They have to be against each other. Okay? So there's the second thing.
In the comics, though?
In addition to that, well, not really. I mean, they did that in an alternate universe, which is kind of the point. Because you kind of break a lot of stuff when you have Superman and Batman fight each other.
Oh. Yeah.
If you're in an alternate universe, it doesn't matter. You can break that universe.
Break the world.
The Dark Knight Returns was set, far into the future. So anyway, you have introduction of Batman and his entire mythos. In addition to that, they want you to set up the entire Justice League. Don't just do Batman. Don't just do Superman. Don't just have them fight and then make up by the end. But also, we want you to somehow work in all the other members of the Justice League, lean heavily on introducing Wonder Woman into this thing. Oh, and by the way, we want you to bring it in at 2 hours. We want a 2-hour movie where all of this stuff, we want you to go immediately from Iron Man 1 to the Avengers in one movie. We want you to do the whole thing. Forget about Iron Man 2. Forget about Thor. Forget about Captain America, the First Avenger. Forget about all that. We're not doing any of that. We're going right straight to the Avengers in movie 2. Okay? And you got to get it in 2 hours. Okay?
Not happening.
If you see the version of Batman versus Superman and then compare it to Batman versus Superman, the extended cut, they are 2 different movies. The extended cut has so much more stuff. That's fine. Yeah. let me make my point.
Okay.
If you follow what's going on there, you have character arcs. You have much more fleshed out stuff. All of the motivation of these characters, the storylines, the plot lines, everything that wasn't in the 2-hour version of that was in the 4-hour version of that, 3 or 4 hour version, however long that thing was.
It was a 3-hour version.
Yeah.
It definitely filled in the gaps in a lot of the plot holes. People call things plot holes. A lot of the issues that people had with the plot was filled in. In addition to that, you had the entire like Legion of Doom that was set up in Suicide Squad. That was the movie that was set up to introduce all of the, the Batman Rogues Gallery and a lot of other characters and stuff, including the Joker. That's where we got the Joker, was in the Suicide Squad movie. If you liked the original Wonder Woman film, guess who was involved in that? Zack Snyder. You'll notice that Zack Snyder is one of the executive producers on that film and one of the writers for that film.
And I loved that
was Zack
movie.
Snyder. Yes, everyone did.
And that's the one.
Thank Zack Snyder for that. If you liked the Aquaman film, even though that was made much later, guess who is involved in the Aquaman film? Zack Snyder was involved in the writing and producing of the Aquaman film. Everything that was set up, the storyline, the arcs, were set up by Zack Snyder. Like him or hate him, whatever the case is, realize that he introduced these characters as deconstructed versions of these characters. And where he brought that home was in Justice League. His original version of Justice League, all of the stuff that was set up, even back in Man of Steel, and was evolved over time, realizing that after Batman versus Superman did not make the golden number of $1 billion. That's what Warner Brothers wanted. They said, well, we've got Batman and Superman in a film. We should make $1 billion. They didn't make $1 billion. They made about 800. Yeah, so they're 150 million short of that number. And there was a very vocal crowd that just absolutely hated the guts out of Batman versus Superman. And instead of sticking with the plan, they started making, oh my gosh, we gotta, with Suicide Squad, we gotta put some humor in here. Guardian of the Galaxy was really popular. Let's put some music in here. We gotta have some music and some montage and more jokes. And then, everything, their reaction to Warner Brothers was pulling back and trying to change things and truncate stuff and screw it up. Instead of just letting Zack Snyder tell his story, because there are a lot of people, obviously the Snyder Cut was very popular. I mean, there was a crowd out there that was not as vocal, that did not get in on the discussion of should we stick with this property. And so every time, everyone talks about how great Shazam was. Shazam didn't make that much money, folks. And I enjoyed Shazam. No, nothing against that. But Shazam made, 400, 500 million? Less? Maybe 350 million? It certainly didn't hit $1 billion.
No. And you know what? It didn't need to.
Aquaman, they didn't spend as much money on it. That's why they were happy about it, is because they'd spent about $90 million to make that movie. And so anything over, like 180 million was a win for them, and they got that. So they were happy with it. And they thought, hey, we could make a comedy movie and stuff, but they still didn't hit $1 billion until they did Aquaman. And I remind you again that part of the success, the guts, the story, the character, the development of Aquaman is directly related to Zack Snyder and his what he poured into that character.
I didn't care for that movie either.
If you look
I'm seeing a thing here, Walt.
If you look at Justice League, all of where he brought all of this stuff home and developed these characters happened in the Snyder Cut of Justice League.
Yeah.
You may not like his interpretation of the characters, but there's a story there that he started back in Man of Steel, and that he carried through the best he could, fighting everything. The only reason why we got the Snyder Cut the way that it was is because we had AT&T that said people are like hashtagging the Snyder Cut. Why aren't we doing this? And Warner Brothers like, oh, we're moving on. Heck with that. Zack Snyder is poison. And AT&T is like, we see dollar bills, y'all. So they made sure that he could make that stuff. They spent another $50 million, maybe more, maybe $100 million to make this thing happen. You guys keep mentioning the Martian Manhunter deal. That was supposed to be Green Lantern that showed up at the end of that thing. And Green Lantern was like not on the site. He just showed up at the end of the thing because he was in another galaxy, punching some bad guys there. It was kind of
which would have made better sense.
It was kind of the Captain Marvel
Yeah.
excuse, which is Captain Marvel's saving the universe, so Captain Marvel can't show up to help out against Ultron, for example. So in any case, I think that I think that Zack Snyder's Justice League is infinitely superior. I really enjoyed it. Is it perfect? No. I don't understand why the Martian Manhunter was Martha. That didn't make any sense to me either. Not everything was great. Obviously, he added a lot of stuff. I think some of the nightmare scenes and some of the things that he did on that was just kind of like, let's just do our own what if. Let's just say what if I could carry this dumb thing on. Here's some other things that I would do.
Right.
Things that they're not going to explore, but was fun. It was fun within the context of that and cohesive. And I think that I can't believe we got the Snyder Cut. And again, the only reason why we got the Snyder Cut was because of AT&T. So, if nothing else, thank you to AT&T for
at least giving
putting their thumb on the necks of the Warner Brothers executives and making them do that thing. So that's my thought on this.
And like I said, I still didn't like the movie, but like Beth said, it was a better movie. It was cohesive. We did get to see Ray Fisher's Cyborg, which and I admit,
Ray Fisher
Cyborg was the best part of that movie.
He was badass.
We got two things we didn't get in the original movie, and that is Barry Allen's story and Cyborg's story. And Cyborg was the heart of the whole thing.
He was the heart of the whole movie.
Yeah.
And for all of the talk about diversity and oh my gosh, we're gonna respect people of color and all that sort of stuff, they ripped Ray Fisher just like they did. Oh, what's his name from Star Wars?
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. And after watching,
they ripped Finn on Star Wars. They stole his entire arc. Tell me what Finn's arc is.
Yeah,
please tell me.
Right.
And they did the same thing with Cyborg. They're like, no one's interested in this. Well, Zack Snyder tried very hard to make people interested in that character, and
that was the only character I was interested in.
Ultimately, he's the guy who saved him, and Barry Allen are the people who saved the day.
Yeah,
and then they were excised from the final film.
Right.
Shame on Warner Brothers for doing it.
Another thing also is, and I keep going back to this, and this dates all the way back to like 1999, maybe 2000, 2001 time. The way Marvel built the MCU was originally Warner Brothers DC idea, and they trashed it. They said it would never work.
And we see how well it's worked out for DC.
We see how well it's worked. We see how well it worked out for Marvel, and then DC decided, well, we're just going to rush through it, and it'll work.
No, it won't.
It won't work.
You can't rush the process.
You can't rush the process.
You have to establish these characters.
Yep.
My biggest complaint with Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman is how Superman was written.
Yeah.
Right. I have a problem with the grammar on that word. Don't mind me. Every version of Superman, even in the comic books, there is a semblance of humanity to Superman, and he's so wooden in these scripts that, I mean, don't get me wrong, the stories were actually fairly decent. Yes, we get the Batman Superman fight that we had seen in the comics, and I'm never going to knock that, because that was great. And I've seen the Snyder cut of Batman versus Superman. It is a better movie than the theatrical version again. But I cannot get on board with how they made Henry Cavill play Superman. I have an issue with it, and it really kind of put a damper on all of the DC movies for me that Supes was involved in.
And the other thing that I have also, in addition to that, was Batman, specifically in B versus S and Justice League. He didn't do any of his own detective work. It was all Alfred.
Right. One thing that I like about this new movie that they're saying is that he is going to be the Dark Knight detective, which I think has not been that hasn't been shown in anything.
It's never been explored.
No one ever talks. I mean, he's supposed to be the detective. It's Detective Comics, folks.
Right.
So it would be nice if they explored that aspect of it. I am excited about that,
because that was the one thing that drove me nuts in Batman versus Superman, is that, hey, Bruce, there's your former employee, and you're not investigating as to where he got that fancy new wheelchair. He's been returning all of the paychecks that you've been giving him, and you're not looking into why. It totally unnerved me. And like I said, that had to do with writing. That had to do with not really
do with the writing and not understanding the characters.
I mean, I'm all for deconstructing a character, but if you're not going to invest the time to research the character, then it's not worth deconstructing the character.
My only real grumble with Snyder's Justice League, overall, yes, the movie had issues. We all agree with that. My big grumble is Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Not for nothing.
He was terrible.
He sucked, but
everything about Lex Luthor was terrible.
The bigger issue is
writing, character, everything.
At this point of our superhero's career, Lex Luthor shouldn't be some punk 30-year-old. Lex Luthor should be well into his 40s and 50s,
smart,
with an established
and intimidating, scary.
Established, Luthor core, the whole 9 yards, not this little weasel.
A more refined Kingpin.
Yeah.
Let's bring it home, folks.
Let's do.
Beth, tell us where to find you.
You can find me on my website at bethannfreely.com, especially if you're looking for my novels. Keep an eye out. I have another one coming out this year. If you are looking for editing and website work, you can find me at themusesfunhouse.com. You can also catch up with me on Twitter at BAFreely and also on Instagram at BAFreely, and then check out everything that I've got on my link tree, where you can find my books and all sorts of other fun stuff.
Beth, do you have a new episode of your show coming out?
Sometime this week. We were going to record it last night, and I wound up with the worst headache that I've had in a long time.
I've been dealing with that since I got back from Dallas.
So we're gonna try. The episode is going to be about knowing your worth as a writer, and I will be talking with someone who shared an experience with me in regards to some freelance writing and articles. I
love that topic.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to be doing it. We're going to film it, record it tomorrow night. So
yeah, super love that topic. Very good, very good. All right, let's get that thing off of here, and let's get a little Walt here. Do you want the floor? Or? Okay.
You can scroll my stuff there.
All right.
So you can find me at Facebook.com.
What happened to your fancy presentation, Walt?
I've been preparing to do another show on my own, a solo show.
Right.
And everybody knows that I'm a born again gamer. I'll put it that way.
Right.
And my favorite game has been Gran Turismo, which Gran Turismo 7 is coming out next year. Mm-hmm. But I found myself doing liveries for race cars more fun than actually racing in the game. And right now I have like over 100 of them. I have some that are specific to Task Force Geek, by the way.
Yeah.
So I've decided that maybe sometime in the near future that I'm going to do my own show where I'm going to show the process of doing these liveries, and I'm looking for a title. So if you have an idea for a title, maybe I should put a request on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
So far, I've got one suggestion from Steve, our old buddy Steve Shank, which is called Livery Disease. Play on liver disease.
Oh, wow.
I think it's great.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. But I'm open to taking some other suggestions, and then I'll put them down to probably the best three, and I'll put them out there for a vote, and then I'll make a logo for that, and then we'll do another best three logos, and then we'll go for the whoever which one people like on that one. But as far as finding me, you can find me on facebook.com/whatwaltercons. I do have pricing for my commissions now. So if you've seen some of my artwork, I've been doing pet commissions, pet portrait commissions mostly, but I do more than pets.
Oh, they're good stuff, man.
So
by the way, I just shared one of a dachshund, which is really, really cool.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
so,
you're welcome, man.
But I've got the pricing for that on my Facebook page. You can also find me at whatstudioart.blogspot.com. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Gatchaman_1. That's where you can find me gaming. And you can find me on Zazzle if you just go to the Zazzle.com and look up What Studio Art, you'll find where you can find some of my stuff. You can find, nice little stuff like this. I also have this design on T-shirts. So that's where you can find me.
It's good stuff, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Let's see. What do I got? Here we go. Let's see. I went to the Fan Expo. I printed up some prints. I still have some prints left, right? So I'm going to be offering those for sale directly. Let's see if I've got those up here. Here it is. There's one of them.
That's a good one.
The Bad Candy print.
That is so awesome in person.
That's also the cover for Bad Candy, right?
Yes.
It is I'll be talking about that here in a second.
Okay.
That is the piece that I did for Bad Candy. These are on 100-pound paper that with a matte finish. They're super nice. I will sign them to you and send them to you. I think I'm going to offer those for $29.95. And what I want to do, it's $20 plus $9.95 shipping and handling. I'm going to try to ship these flat because I really don't want to roll these because they're kind of thick. So anyway, they'll be shipped flat to you. I'll put a couple stickers in there and maybe some other stuff if you're interested in it. So that's one of them. And then I also have my Lady Loki piece. That's another print that I have offered, again, $29.95. And finally, my Ursa Likes Tea print.
I still need to get that one from you.
If you like fancy bears.
Who doesn't like a fancy bear?
I know, right?
Hey, Dirk, I want to make a mention about your Bad Candy image there.
Yeah, man.
It's obvious that What If has been influencing your coloring from that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I did it before. I think I did that before What If, maybe. But I mean, it's definitely, like I said, that's something that I typically do. Like if you look at the Lady Loki there, you can see some of that where I try to throw in kind of contrasting colors to it's like rim lighting or whatever they call it.
I've actually noticed that coloring, that same type of coloring on the sets of Star Trek Discovery.
Yes. I mean, it's all over the place if you start looking at it.
Yeah, you pay attention.
And if you look at like the colorist that I'm looking at, that's where I'm getting it, is from looking at people like Brian Stelfreeze, who's doing this sort of stuff.
Oh, Stelfreeze is just great.
Or Kurt Russell, who does this sort of stuff. He always throws in kind of a cool color to do rim lighting and stuff, and it's been pretty popular. And anyway, I like that look. I like that kind of super glowy, fancy coloring look, and it's been pretty popular. On the subject of Bad Candy, we have a Kickstarter running right now for Bad Candy issue number 3. I did one of the alternate covers. So if you want to support my work or you want to support the work of an independent artist, one of the fellow members of Rain King Studios did the writing and the inks on that, and which is Robert Henry, and then Joe Evans does the layouts and the initial pencils for that. Please go over to look at this project link, or you can go to Kickstarter, just put in Bad Candy and it will lead you to that. We are one day away from being 1 week into this campaign, and I think that we're at.
I think the last time I looked, it was about half.
No, we're a little over half now.
A little over half
we're
now?
about
Okay.
2/3 of the way to our goal, which is not that much, folks. I mean, just and the lowest price of the issues is $10. So if you've got $10 in you, you want to support this stuff and see more issues, and you can get the other issues as well if you don't have 1 and 2. Then you can certainly pick up those other issues as add-ons. And I'm talking to Robert about getting like a digital catch-up. So if you want to, like, say, maybe get my cover, but you also want to know what's going on in the story, Robert's supposed to be offering a digital catch-up for pretty cheap, where you can get issues 1 and 2 as well as 3 and follow the story. So there's that. And then finally, I have one other thing that I want to mention, and that is, for adults only, I have an OpenSea NFT collection. If you've heard about NFTs, they're non-fungible tokens. That's a digital piece of art which you buy through the Ethereum blockchain. I know that I probably just said stuff that sounds like Sanskrit to people. But if you're into NFTs or you're interested, I will talk to you as much as I know about NFTs. Let me say, getting my foot in the door on this thing, I had to learn quite a bit. So I can talk about this subject if you're interested in getting in NFTs, or you're interested in investing in something which could potentially take off in the future. Who knows? I mean, this is a brand new thing. It's like 25 years ago, the internet was brand new. These NFTs are a brand new way of investing in art or media, and they're one of a kind. And, 10 years from now, who knows? If it takes off like I suspect it will, getting in now for the prices which you're investing in this stuff is going to be a bargain. And if you're interested in my work, you can own a one-of-a-kind piece of art right there. Adults only. Do not go there if you're
under the age of 18. Do not go there.
Do not go there.
Or if you have your own issues with adult stuff, please don't go there.
Yeah, and for some of you, if you're under 21, I mean, because some of you don't get
right. But to be fair, this is kind of a soft R. This is very soft R stuff that I have there. Although later on it might be harder R stuff. So anyway, there it is. There's my goodies.
It's good stuff.
Thank you, man. And again, hey, look, if you're just interested in this subject or something, and I'm going to be doing some videos on this subject because I know that people are interested. They want to know what the heck is going on, and I am not an expert, but I can tell you what I know. And since I just did it, it's very much fresh on my mind. I know the process that I went through, and I will share that initial process with people, because the more people that get involved in this and the more people that know about it, the more powerful it will be. And I think that it has a great deal of potential. And I think that in a few years that people are going to wish that they'd gotten in on this earlier. And I'm kind of a person who enjoys being an early adopter of stuff. And so I guess we'll see.
I'm definitely interested in you. I mean, possibly doing something, documenting your.
I'm definitely going to do that.
So. Yeah.
Because again, there's, as much as there is very little of this material that's out there, there's even less instructional stuff, and that's kind of, I have a gift for breaking stuff down and teaching people about stuff. So I know that that will be valued, and I will place that on our Task Force Geek group, and maybe that portion will take off.
Definitely.
It's possible.
It will.
Oh, yeah, it will.
It's possible that being in that very small market of explaining what it is and how to do it, maybe that's something that will bring some more viewers to us. And if I just help one person figure out how to do this sort of stuff, then it'll be worth it. Does anyone have any final thoughts on this thing?
Be sure to catch the latest episode of Titans. It dropped today, as well as the first 3 episodes of the Doom Patrol.
Oh, they dropped
season 3.
Also, last night, Sean and I watched the first couple of episodes of Star Wars Visions, which dropped on Disney Plus.
I watched
For
that
those
too.
of you who, if you're watching this, it probably automatically means you have Disney Plus. And so those episodes run about 15, 20 minutes, something like that.
Yep.
And the 2 episodes we watched were both really good.
Yeah.
Really good. So you might want to check that out, and we might talk about that either on the main show or on this show next week.
And one other thing, I watched the first episode of Why the Last Man too.
Yep, I just put that on my list.
That's
watched
all
that.
mine. I didn't get a chance to
I
watch
watched that last night, and again, they had the first 3, and of course, I chose the wrong time to try and watch 3 episodes back to back to back.
Yeah,
because
you gotta have the time.
Because right after that first episode, it got into the second one. I went to sleep.
Yes,
So that's what
timing.
happens when you try and watch something at 2:00 in the morning. So
I get it. Yep, I get it. All right, folks. Hey, thanks everyone who chimed in today. We had a pretty good turnout. Thanks to the 2 of you, and thanks for everyone for watching. We sure do appreciate it. So until next Tuesday or next Thursday at 3 p.m. Central, this is Dark Cooper saying dream hard.
peace out, everyone.
Later, guys.